Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to Towering TBR. If you're new here, I am chronically ill and disabled. I read a wide variety of books, and every month I play a TBR game to help me choose what I will read. I normally point to my most recent TBR video and say, if you want to see how it went before I spoil it, go check it out. But this month I did not read any of the books that I said I was going to read. So that's probably not particularly useful for you right now. So I will go over what I read in July, and then we will move into the rolls for August. Last month I drew N38, a cozy book, and for this I reread The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. Check. I also pulled 068, a book by an Indigenous author. For this, I'm reading A Mind Spread Out on the Ground by Alicia Fell. She is a Canadian Indigenous author, and I will definitely finish it before the end of the month. So, check. I also pulled B14, a Palestinian author. For this, I read The Moon Turns You Back by Hala Alyan, which was a poetry collection. Check. And lastly, I pulled G60, which is a climate change book. And for that, I read The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin, the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy. Check. Okay, so even though I didn't read the books I intended to read, I did accomplish all of the goals, which is exciting. Speaking of goals, I plan to reread some books in anticipation for the newest one coming out. So in August, I am planning to reread Amari and the Night Brothers and Amari and the Great Game, books 1 and 2, because the third book will be out at the end of August. So these are already going on my TBR. I am also intending to reread the Bobiverse series, which starts with We Are Legend, We Are Bob by Dennis E. Taylor. There are 4 books out currently, and I plan to reread all of them in anticipation for the 5th book. But Audrey and I are going to be buddy reading this first one. I'll link her channel, and this will be the first time we will be buddy reading a book where one of us has already read it. But I really think she'll like it, and so I'm excited to do that. I already have 6 books on the TBR, which is a bit daunting. That's okay. I will roll 4 times, and let's see if I can get a bingo. Roll 1. N45, a 5-star prediction. All right, let's see what I have. Okay, so I have 3 options I'm very excited about. The first is The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This is the 3rd book in the trilogy, and the first book was a 5-star, the second was a 4-star, so feeling like this might be a 5-star because I'm really, really enjoying this series. Another option I have is The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver. I read Demon Copperhead by her a couple of years ago and absolutely loved it and feel like I might give another one of her books 5 stars. And lastly, A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. I love Le Guin, and I had intended to read this book last month. It just didn't pan out, but I still very much want to read it. So, you know, I think I'm going to go for Stone Sky. This is the one I'm feeling most confident could earn a 5-star. So we're going to put that on the TBR. Roll 2. N41, a book with a subtitle. Okay, so I have 2 options for that. I only own one of them, though. So the first is The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat and Other Clinical Tales. I did a read of chapter several months ago, and I decided to keep reading a little bit more because it was just so engaging. These are nonfiction, these are true accounts from a neurologist, Oliver Sacks, and he kind of talks about some of his patients who had really interesting maladies. So this is definitely an option. The other I'm considering is The Disappearing Spoon by Sam Keane. I read Ice Pick Surgeon from this author before, and I really enjoyed it. He has a really good way of making history come alive with his stories, and he always adds like lots of anecdotes, which make it feel very readable for nonfiction. So both of them sound really, really good. I definitely want to read more nonfiction, but you know what? I'm going to go with the one I own. I want to prioritize what I own over what I don't. So I'm going to choose the man who mistook his wife for a hat. Roll 3. I-22, a book about religions or cults. Okay, I have 3 options for this one as well. So the first, bringing back the Poisonwood Bible. This is about a family of missionaries who I think go somewhere in Africa and try to preach their message. I've also really wanted to pick up The Road to Jonestown, which is all about the cult where they drank the Kool-Aid and did like a mass suicide. I've always wanted to learn more about that as well. But I also have an anticipated release called We Burnt Daylight, and I can't remember who it's by, but I'll put in the picture. And this comes out at the very end of July, and it's about a like star-crossed romance between a person who's in the Waco cults and a person who I think is on the law enforcement side of this. And I am just ridiculously excited for all 3. Honestly, it is really hard to pick. So if you have a preference, either because you think I'll like it or because you just want to hear my thoughts, definitely vote. The Poisonwood Bible, the Road to Jonestown, or We Burn Daylight. Yeah, let me know what you're interested in hearing about. I'm just going to put this on my pile to represent it, but I'm not necessarily choosing this one. Life of a Mood Reader. All right, last roll. G59, an Irish author. Okay, so I have 2 choices for this one. The first is The Absolutist by John Boyne. I really enjoy John Boyne. I've read The Heart's Invisible Furies, which I gave 5 stars, and A Ladder to the Sky, which I gave 4. I'm not really sure what this is other than it's a historical book, but I like his writing quite a lot, so this is an option. I have The Glorious Heresies by Lisa McInerney, and this is a book that did really well in the Women's Prize several years ago, and I think it's focused on a group of friends and has some sort of crime mystery element. So, not really sure which one I want to pick up, but you know what? I've had this for a really long time. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick The Glorious Heresies as my last pick. So that means on my TBR, I have 10 books. Definitely let me know which ones you're interested in so I can prioritize the best ones. What are you reading in the month of August? Are you doing any readathons or buddy reads or anything you're really excited about? Let's have a chat down in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.